I'm going to answer that by saying, well, Sally, do you know what? What I told you about 5 years ago has absolutely taken off. It's incredible, and that's why I'm on this aeroplane now. Okay. I'm actually on my way to a new part of the world that we're going to explore for children. And we're going to be doing exactly the same as we started back 5 years ago, and you weren't around to see the result of that. But what we actually did is we produced activity books and webinars that actually followed us around during our travels, so that we could introduce children from across the globe to different cultures. And now we're actually just on our way to Africa to do the same there. Let's say it was a very difficult decision for me at age 57 to start my own business when I'd been a school senior leader for such a long time, because I had no real business experience apart from being a business teacher. And that is a very different thing from having experience of a business, and I know that even more so now. But apart from that, I had to decide what happens if this business doesn't work. I'm 57. At 58, 59, 60, will I get another job in a school if my business doesn't work? However, I really wanted to make that decision to come out of school, but even in that sense, it was difficult, because you're coming out of a school where, and I don't mean this in a show-off way, but you are someone. You mean something to the people around you, to teachers, to students, to parents, and then suddenly you're sitting in your own front room and nobody needs you. Oh, 100% I know it's been helping, because I think if you have an understanding of people and their feelings, and you tune into their feelings, then obviously, as a senior leader, for example, in a school, I was constantly understanding the needs of the teachers, and by understanding that and trying to treat them in the way that they wanted to be treated, and giving them what they needed, but obviously with business targets in mind, but being able to treat them in the way that they needed to be treated, I know that they would have given so much more to me than if I'd have treated them in any other way. If I've, and I suppose it comes from being a teacher, if I've helped somebody to have one of those I see moments, that's quite amazing for me. Sometimes better the devil you know than the devil you don't know. If I tell you the mistake, I made a mistake, and I left a school to go to a different school. And I hadn't really done my background research, but it was a promotion for me. And it was a promotion that I dearly wanted. But instead of doing the background research and possibly even believing that it wasn't the right place for me, I took it simply because I wanted that promotion.
Yeah.
And it therefore was totally wrong, and I needed to leave almost immediately because of my beliefs.
Yeah.
But I know that I rushed into that when I shouldn't have. Somebody that was very much a risk taker, and I've just talked about one of my mistakes being a bit of a risk, I guess, but nonetheless, somebody that was a risk taker, and because I've taught business and entrepreneurship, I've very often spoken to students about such people as Colonel Sanders and others, and the risk taking, and I have so much admiration for these guys sometimes, because I was 57 and I was happy to take a little bit of a risk then because it was only me that I would be affecting. But I often look back and think, what if I had have taken a risk 20, 30 years before? But I always played it safe, wanted
Yeah.
to. So I think somebody who's a risk taker and has started businesses of their own, even if they've had a row of mistakes and learnt from them, that kind of mentor would be amazing. I suppose I'm probably a bit of an ideas person, and when it comes down to it, I kind of get a bit scared of if there's something I can't do myself, I then think, oh, I can't do it, instead of perhaps sometimes reaching out. My mum used to say I was far too independent. And whereas that can be a strength, it really can be a weakness, actually. Because I've got to learn that it's nice to share a bit more and